We have gone through the first 5 verses of the Gospel of St. John. We will recap our progress thus far. First, let's read through the first 5 verses. En archi in o logos, ke o logos in prostonteon, ke theos in o logos. Auftous in en archi prostonteon, panda di auftu e geneto, ke choris auftu e geneto ude en o yeionenen. En aufto zoe in, ke e zoe in tophos ton anthropon, ke tophos enti scotia pheni, ke e scotia aufto u katalaven. Let's review vocabulary to ensure that words are sticking. Cognates are helpful, and fortunately, these first 5 verses have a number of Greek-English cognates. Greek en is almost identical to English in. Archi is in English archaic and archaeology, meaning beginning. Logos comes into English through logic, something that requires words and reason. Theos, Greek for God, is seen in English theology. Greek zoe, meaning life, is in zoology, the study of animals. Phos, the Greek word for light, is seen in English photon and photography. Anthropos, Greek for person or human, is in English anthropology. And pheni, Greek for appears, comes into English as phantom and phenomenon, things that appear. Now let's go through the text with translation. En, in, archi, beginning, in, was, o, the, logos, word, ke, and, o, the, logos, word, in, was, pros, with, ton, the, theon, God, ke, and, theos, God, in, was, o, the, logos, word, ouftos, this, in, was, en, in, archi, beginning, pros, with, ton, the, theon, God, panda, all, via, through, afto, him, egeneto, happened, ke, and, choris, without, auftu, him, egeneto, happened, ude, and not, en, one, o, which, yeionenen, happened, en, in, aufto, him, zoe, life, in, was, ke, and, e, the, zoe, life, in, was, to, the, phos, light, tone, of the, anthropon, humans, ke, and, to, the, phos, light, en, in, t, the, scotia, darkness, pheni, appears, ke, and, e, the, scotia, darkness, aufto, it, u, not, katalaven, overtake. In addition, you can think of mnemonic devices to remember words. In a previous lesson, I mentioned how I think of a dark, rainy cloud in Scotland. Scotia is darkness. A couple words to note that may cause confusion. There's an N in verse 1 and an N in verse 3. These are homonyms, words that sound and are spelled the same but are actually different. In verse 1, N is a preposition meaning in. In verse 3, N is the neuter form of the number 1. We have another homonym issue in this section. Again, in verse 1, there is the word O, and in verse 3, there is another word, O. These are different words. In verse 1, O is the word the. In verse 3, O is the word which. These words look and sound the same, but they are different. And the context tells us what they are. Verse 3 presents the most grammatically challenging verse in this section. The word happened occurs 3 times in 2 different forms, eyeneto and yeyonin. It also has the homonyms N and O, which can be confused with other words. Let's go through the second part of this verse. Ke and, horis without, alftu him, eyeneto happened, uve not, en one. And in this case, one thing is understood. O which, yeyoninen happened. That N-O combination is confusing. It's not in the, but rather one thing which. Even if you get tripped up here, it's only one part of a single verse that is grammatically challenging in the first 5 verses. Now that we have gone through the vocabulary, let's roll through the reading in literal translation. In beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the God, and God was the Word. This was in beginning with the God. Everything through him happened, and without him happened not one that happened. In him life was, and the life was the light of the humans. And the light in the darkness appears, and the darkness it not overcome. So that's the literal word order and translation. Let's now put this translation into English word order. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and God was the Word. This was in the beginning with God. All things happened through him, and without him happened not one thing which happened. In him was life, and the life was the light of humanity. And the light appears in the darkness, and the darkness did not overtake it.